An arrest warrant that took the world by storm and frowned upon by Russia. The International Criminal Court wants Russian President Vladimir Putin incarcerated. Putin's staunch ally, Dmitry Medvedev, now dares that the move will amount to a declaration of war against Russia. The Kremlin says the ICC warrant is an outrageously partisan decision, and countries such as Russia, China and the US do not recognize the International Criminal Court.
Let us imagine, obviously, it is a situation which is never going to happen, but nevertheless, let us imagine the situation came true. An incumbent leader of a nuclear state has arrived, for instance, in Germany and was arrested. What is this? A declaration of war on the Russian Federation.
South Africa has also forwarded an invitation to President Putin as the country gears up to host the BRICS summits later this year. Pretoria signed the Rome Statutes and recognizes the ICC.
Many countries which should sign on are not members of it, and we had hoped other forms of warrants would be issued by the ICC, because there are many countries and leaders who have practiced very serious abuses in situations of conflict, but they remain unscathed in terms of the ICC. And this is a worrying aspect that we've raised previously. South Africa will have to look at existing provisions of our legislation. We also, I think, will have to have a discussion as cabinet, as well as with our colleagues in Russia.
Analysts say this warrant of arrest presents a number of implications for South Africa and the world.
South Africa could remain in the ICC, but look at its domestic legislation and look at potentially putting a number of exemptions there, where, for instance, its national interests are put into question or are threatened, but also where the arrest of a sitting head of state would have negative implications for brokering potential peace deals with that sitting head of state. And so, for instance, if South Africa were seen to be part of a process of mediating and calling for a peaceful resolution of a conflict, and an imminent arrest of a sitting head of state like President Putin would have a negative impact on that. This would be one of the reasonings, I think, that South Africa could put through.
The United States has backed the warrant of arrest, although it's not a signatory of the Rome Statutes. This comes amid criticisms that some US leaders have committed atrocities in Iraq, Afghanistan and other countries, and they've never been taken to task before the ICC. US ally Britain says President Putin must be held accountable.
This is a historic moment in the conflict in Ukraine. The International Criminal Court, which operates independently, has issued an indictment for President Putin and the Children's Commissioner for appalling crimes against children. And whilst they operate independently, it's really important the international community support them and give them the tools to do the job.
Neither Russia nor Ukraine are members of the ICC, although Kyiv granted its jurisdiction to prosecute crimes committed on its territory. Khumalo, SABC News, Johannesburg.